Hi, I'm Heather with Radical Pleasurist, and I want to share a story about how I blew my own mind. It happened today. So I was having this amazing brainstorm around this new idea I have, and actually it wasn't a brainstorm. I have a good friend who called it recently a mind orgasm, and that's exactly what was happening. I was having the best mind orgasm over this idea, like, okay, it's time to share a year to radical change. Because I've done it repeatedly, had these years of radical change. So what I had to decide though is what year did I want to focus on? Which one do I really want to revisit and study and then share publicly? And since it was going to be framing the whole series, it was important, to decide which one I was going to spend a bunch of time with. And at first I thought of the fall of 2016 to 2017. And I decided that was quick. Nope. That fucking sucked. I don't want to revisit the time of severe illness, a long medical leave, which eventually led to losing this job that I absolutely loved, and then this horrible breakup from this 3-year ill-advised, ridiculous relationship that I was in. So I'm not ready to revisit that year. No, thank you. And my experience of recovery from illness is interesting and can be used for illustration purposes. So I actually do have another YouTube channel that's called Heather's Full Catastrophe, where starting in about 2016, I was posting videos of myself kind of while I was going through the shit as best I could. And then there's a bunch of new stuff too from the past year. So it's actually really fun. I really enjoy a lot of the videos that I have over there. Anyway. So, yeah, I don't want to wallow in that year. So then I decided, okay, well, the fall of 2017 to 2018, what about that one? No. It actually got way fucking worse, and I don't want to talk about that stuff at all, except for with my closest beloveds and or my therapist. So we're not going to do that year. So what does sound exciting, though, is September 2018 to now, which is October 5th. Of 2019, because this past year has been fucking epic. So I sit down and I start trying to plan, okay, what am I gonna do? I've got my bullet journal from that time frame, and I've got my phone with all the recordings, because instead of journaling I made voice recordings, so all my recordings are on there. Got my computer. Okay, scroll back and I look at September 2018, and I actually see one that's titled A Year to Radical Change. So I'll get to that one later. But I noticed when it says August 30th and it says noticing, what did I call it? Noticing what's happening. And so that's the one. I'm going to listen to that one right now. And I talked briefly about what was going on at the time and what I wanted to start experiencing, what I wanted to call into my life. And it was really clear I was ready for a motherfucking change. And so I was listening to this, and the things that I put in there that I was calling in, they've like 100% come true. And they've blown my mind with the level was actually come. Like back then I kind of planted the seeds. I planted the best that I could perceive at that time is what I put in here. And I had been practicing what I'd learned from Sophia for 8 months at the time. So I actually was pretty freaking tuned in. But now, back then I couldn't even perceive of the life that I am experiencing now. The level of awareness that I have of sounds and smells and sights and sensations, I couldn't even perceive of it. And just my life experience, the people around me, where I live, everything is different, and it's awesome. It's such a fucking upgrade. Okay. All right, so this is where I start. This is the start of my, the transcription of August 30th, 2018. I am noticing lots of resistance. Resistance to sharing about my experience, even with myself. Resistance to so much. Anyway, what are some of the things that are on my mind right now? Okay, so the detailed roadmap idea, realization that while everyone else, I'm feeling sadness for my former self. and realization that, well, everyone else was having pleasure. Okay, I can't assume everyone else is having pleasurable experiences, but I do think that people choose different experiences to have than I did. I chose for some reason to be kind of closed off, no pleasure in sex, and instead experienced a great deal of trauma. I decided to go that route. So the good news is that means that now I get to experience, and here I just kind of cut myself off. Anyway, because I've done the other, I'm done. I'm good with experiencing all the sadness and loneliness and darkness and pain and disconnection from other people, from my body, from, oh crap, I'm sorry, my pages got mixed up. From the world, okay, disconnected. I am ready to engage with life instead of run from it. Yeah, I'm ready to experience the pleasures, and I'm done with the near-death experiences. I've had all I need to have. I've had the illness, I've had the loss, I've run the gamut. I'm sure there'll be more in the future, but I get to have a significant length of time where shit is just awesome now. I'm going to have fun with new friends. And yes, so much good stuff is coming my way. I'm already having good stuff. It's just still fairly muted and low-key, and I'm ready for some goddamn peak experiences. Okay, this is where I'm going to take a break from what I wrote back then and kind of reflect on what's happening now. But I need to take a breath first, because okay, so I referred to I was closed off, that I had no pleasure in sex, and a great deal of trauma. That's what was happening for me then, and in my prior experience before that. Now, I live as openly as I possibly can in every moment, and that does change. That looks different from day to day, and sometimes from hour to hour, and I give myself space for that. It's okay. And I have such pleasure during sex, and honestly, I was celibate for, starting in September of 2017, I didn't have any sort of sexual activity whatsoever with anybody until March of 2019. So that's a big difference. And I've also discovered since then that sex is way more than just oral sex or penis and vagina. Wow. There's this huge wide variety that I just never had the opportunity to explore. It was awesome. Anyway, okay, and so now the only trauma that I experience is honestly if I'm kind of revisiting my past, because now when something really fucking hardcore happens, because it does, I still live a normal life. No, it's not, I'm sorry, my life is not normal. People who know me know that that's bullshit. Anyway, intense shit happens on the regular. And I'm oriented towards it differently. I perceive it differently. It can literally be almost all the exact same scenarios as something I've experienced in the past, and I can look back on how I perceived it before and how I reacted. And after all of this practice that I'm going to share about, I can have a totally different response. I can choose to respond how I respond, and it's awesome. Okay, so all right, so then I get to this next part about where, there's the good news, and I'm sure what I intended to say is I get to experience the opposite end of the spectrum, because I've had all the fucking shit. I've been through hell repeatedly. I've done my time with that experience. And what it brought me was loneliness and darkness and pain and disconnection. I just could not connect with other people or my body on any sort of deep level. I know I needed to engage and participate fully in life. So yeah, okay, so then I said, I recognize there'll be more bummer shit, and okay, now back in October, there totally is. But I did get to have a significant length of time where shit was just awesome. This past year has been incredible, and I'm so excited to get to revisit it because it was literally so much that I really cannot hold it all in my mind. So thank God I made myself plenty of voice recordings. I did some writing. I have it all. And it's time to go back through it, and I'm psyched to share it, and that is going to be the illustration of a year to radical change. Is we're going to walk through it together. Former Heather, current Heather, and you, if you want to come along. All right, so, okay, then I say, I'm going to have fun with new friends. Oh my God, I have so many fucking amazing friends. Like, they're the most incredible human beings. They just blow my mind every day with their creativity and their ideas and their warmth and their beauty and awareness. And okay, I'm in love with all of my beloveds. Okay, mostly then I'm remembering how muted and low key. Okay, so I remember what I was aware that I was present, was in my experience, but it really felt like I was looking through really filthy windows that had bars over them at something that looked really fun on the other side, outside, but I couldn't see it well enough to even really know what was happening. And now I'm outside with my friends in the sun and like having the fucking party just in my daily life. Like everything just feels so much more beautiful. Just driving down the street and looking at the fall leaves, and I just am blown away at how beautiful it is. And just running my hand through a beloved's hair, just, damn, fucking awesome. Okay, so, yeah, I was ready to have some peak experiences. Yep, I have those a lot. I want to laugh so hard that it hurts. Yes, that feels amazing. I want to cry from joy and laughter. Yes, and it's even more fun than I imagined then. I want to feel so keyed in with a good friend. I want to know what it feels like to be fully seen and heard and not hide or shrink from it. And I mumbled a bit here about how I only got to see my good friends a couple times a year. And I talk about I'm taking out the garbage. Okay, so then I say, I'm also experiencing a lot in my body. I had no idea back then. Even in this moment, the amount of sensation that I'm experiencing in my body, from the nervousness that I feel nervous, and I feel excited, and I feel tapped in, and there's a lot going on here that I couldn't have even perceived before. All right, so okay. Oh, right, so then, okay, this actually happened this morning. I'm anxious to talk about this, but that's just old stuff coming up. Okay, so my sweetie took me out to breakfast, and I took this bite of just delicious, it was eggs and sausage and a potato or something. I don't know, it was just like, but it was the perfect bite of breakfast. And I felt it in my whole body, particularly in my clitoris. So that's new. Okay, so then, okay, back to August. So I say, okay, also I want to remember some of the details. So like I just had a great time watching a Kate McKinnon video of comedians in cars getting coffee. I absolutely love her. She's fucking hilarious. I was drawn by her silliness and her dryness and her smartness. I'm afraid to be silly and open, and I'm afraid that people will think that I'm annoying. Okay, so update on that. I recently hosted in my new kick-ass house with my fucking amazing housemates a party that I designed myself because it felt like fun, and I was pretty sure that my friends were gonna like it too. And they totally did. About 15 of them were able to come over, and I called it a snuggle and romp. And we danced and we roughhoused and we made a 6-person pyramid, and we just played and giggled like 10-year-olds. And then we had platonic snuggling all in the living room. I got all this cushy stuff out and relaxed completely until it was time for everybody to go home. And it was delightful and silly and fun and athletic and everything I ever wanted in time with my friends. We played and we danced and we laughed and then we snuggled. Okay, so back to reading about August 2018. I recognize that I'm very inexperienced when it comes to any sort of physical intimacy. So that means I get to experience it as an adult, as a grown-ass woman. Just because everybody else got started a lot sooner doesn't mean I get to finally let someone else guide me. Yeah, I do want someone who is more experienced, but kind and loving and smart about it. So yeah, so on New Year's Eve, I met the most incredible man. And over time, we became friends. And then we also became lovers. And he's all that I imagined and so much more. Okay, so back to last year. So the yoga video I just did was freedom and forgiveness. I had so little sexual experience, is what I'm saying back then. Very few sexual partners. And they were all selfish fucking assholes or virgins, so neither of us knew what the hell we were doing. So now, in 2019, I understand that there are so many different kinds of intimacy. It's not just sex. Yes, sexual intimacy is great, but now that I also get to experience platonic physical intimacy, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual intimacy on a regular basis, I realize there's so much I was missing out on before by being so focused on sex. So back in August, I had been doing some form of exercise, usually yoga, for at least 15 minutes a day for about 8 months at that time. And I had started to notice my body was firming up in ways that I didn't expect, and I was stronger and closer to pain-free than I had ever been in my memory. And I said in my recording that I felt steel in my body for the first time ever. So in October 2019, I've been doing mostly yoga, but I have been exercising most days now for 22 months. And I've been eating healthy for closer to 4 years. I frequently do not recognize my own reflection in the mirror. The change is pretty dramatic. So at this point in my recording, honestly, I'm basically kind of letting myself know what's coming up. It hasn't actually happened yet, but it's on its way. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited for that. And I'm also really looking forward to this trip down memory lane. And I hope you'll come along with me. So please subscribe to this channel, as well as for the Radical Pleasurist weekly story letter. That's how you're going to hear about all of this first. It's down in the description below. Have a radically pleasurable day.